Hey there. Welcome to Discover the Divine You. My name is Kimberly Nicole. Right now I'm on a journey to figure out who the real Kimberly Nicole is, who I was divinely created to be. So I created this podcast in hopes others could benefit from what I'm learning and the different ways I'm connecting with a higher power. I created this space for honest conversations about healing, creativity, spiritual growth, and learning to reconnect with myself while living presently in my life. I'm a mom of 3. I have a job. I'm in 12-step recovery. Real life happens every day. So this is a space of no pressure, no expectations, no perfection, just progress. A journey towards finding peace, clarity, and connection to something bigger than ourselves, going from chaos to calm. So here we go. I'm so glad you're here to take this journey with me. Let's get creative. Episode 28, let's start a riot. Hello, welcome to another episode. I am Kimberly Nicole. This is Discover the Divine You. And today in our 90 podcasts in 90 days, we are on the topic of self-will. Now, this one is very interesting. There's a saying in program, self-will run riot. So basically, I don't use my self-will for good all the time. I use it for controlling, manipulating, getting my way. So when my self-will starts to run riot, it manifests in my physical body. I can tell. And that might sound a little bit cuckoo bananas to you, but I promise it's a real thing for me. There is this pressure and stress and pain that comes over my body, especially my neck and shoulders and ribs. That is where my self-will runs riot. It runs amok, and it is no good for me. It is actually really bad for me. However, that physical pain is an indicator for me that I need to make some changes and give it over to my higher power. So we talk a lot in program about God's will and the prayer, thy will and mine be one, which is how I say it. But a lot of people say, thy will, not mine, be done. And I like to stay more in the positive. So I say, thy will and mine be one. Because that's really where I want to be, is one with my higher power. I want my thoughts to be his thoughts and his thoughts to be my thoughts. And that's like next level stuff, like end of life type goals, right? I am not there now, but the more I say it, the more I think it, the more I'm going to feel it. And the more I focus on that as my goal, the better. Because there's nothing in this world that is going to give me what I need better than my higher power. So even if I use my self-will for what's seemingly good, it's not always going to end up with a positive outcome, right? Because it's my will, not God's. And who am I to know what someone else's higher power's will is for them, right? I'm not going to let my self-will run riot by trying to govern everyone else's lives, right? And, as a mom and a wife, you do govern people's lives to a certain extent, but not so much that you don't let them make their own choices and decisions. I think that's one of my favorite things that I have started doing with my children is I don't give them a ton of consequences. Their consequences come very naturally. If you punch your sister, 90% of the time, she's going to punch you right back. Not that I want her to do that. I do have a talk with her about hitting, right? If we don't want someone to hit us, we shouldn't hit them. We don't need to hit them. That's just perpetuating this negative behavior, right? But like, if my kids don't clean their room, then they can't find their stuff. If they don't do their laundry, they don't have clean clothes, right? So that's a natural consequence. If I don't work, I don't make money. I can't pay the bills. So nobody has to punish me. It's just a natural order of things, right? So that being said, there's so many different ways we can go into talking about self-will. And now there's a siren in the background that's distracting my ADHD brain. I'm just gonna wait for it to pass. This is the joy of living across the street from a hospital. It's both a distraction to me and also a comfort, because my kids are a little bit reckless when they play, as is their father. So knowing that there's a hospital very close by brings me a lot of peace. Anyway, back to the self-will. Okay, when my self-will runs riot, my body starts to just hurt like the Dickens, which I don't even know what that means. That's a very interesting saying. I need to look that up eventually and find out what that even means. So my body starts to hurt bad. And that's a sign for me to start to pray and hand it all over and work a 10th step and make an outreach call and get connected with another human being that I can trust. So like we talked about yesterday, right? Connection, not isolation. So when my self-will runs riot, I want to isolate more, because then there's nobody to tell me I'm doing it wrong and nobody to say, hey, don't do that. Also, when my self-will runs riot, I try to control so much so fast that I blow up. Like sometimes it feels like I'm imploding. Like my insides are just like, ooh, just dropped that. My insides are just like exploding, and it's very uncomfortable. Not where I want to be. Definitely a place I've been a lot of times in the past. So self-will has never served me well, ever. Even when I thought that it was, looking back, like it absolutely doesn't ever serve me better than my higher power's will. My higher power's will is always gentle, always kind, always understanding. And when I try to take my will back, oh, here comes more sirens. When I try to take my will back, I'm just frustrating God's plan for me. It's still gonna go down. I'm just making it go and happen slower. So if there's something that I think will go better because I can control it, typically that's, like, bless my heart that I think that, because my will is very limited in as far as like, I'm not an infinite source. I don't have tons of resources. I am also human. So my body is limited, my energy, my time, all limited. So higher power can see the whole picture. I can only see this little part, right? This little Kim bubble is all I got. I can't see the other person's part. I can't see like this that goes with this, that goes with that. Like there's a whole puzzle that is, and I can only see one piece, and God can see the whole puzzle. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone else, but the gist is God's will and mine being one is far more productive and successful and amazing than me trying to use my self-will to get anything done. It'll maybe get done, maybe, but it'll take way longer. It'll be way more complicated, and I will get frustrated for sure. And it will definitely hurt my insides and possibly hurt other people in the process. None of which sounds great to me when I say it out loud. So if I remind myself of that before I get into self-will, or when I feel myself kind of going into self-will, saves me a lot of time and effort and energy, and getting back on track, and a lot of like, what's the word? When I need to rest, like recoup. Like I don't have to recoup for as long if I just started off by giving it to higher power. It's much better for me and everyone else involved. And, you know, my higher power will love me no matter what. But it's way more fun and way more satisfying, and feels a lot safer when I'm working together, co-creating with my higher power versus trying to tell my higher power what needs to get done. So I invite everyone to co-create with their higher power today in whatever capacity you feel is necessary to improve your life. And if you have constant chronic pain like me, maybe try giving that over to your higher power. Some of it is definitely physical and needs medical attention, I know. But a lot of it for me is emotional and spiritual. So when my emotional and spiritual stuff is in with my higher power, and I'm focusing my will on my higher power's will, the pain is far less. And I'm not a doctor. I don't know all things about everything, but I do know that where my mind and my heart are affect my physical body. So I will leave you there. I will leave that there with you. And I hope that you have a wonderful day and you do something kind and creative for yourself because you deserve it. And I will see you again tomorrow. Hey, thanks so much for being here today. You're my favorite. I'm so glad you came. I know life is busy, so I really do appreciate the time you're taking to do some self-care and hang out with me for a little bit. If something that we talked about today resonated with you and you want to dig a little deeper, I put together a 5-minute creative reset guide called Chaos to Calm that you can access in the show's description. And I would be so grateful if you'd subscribe and share this podcast with someone out there that you think could benefit from what we're creating here together. Also, remember, I am just sharing my experience, strength, and hope as I understand it here. So if bigger emotions come up, please take care of yourself and reach out to a licensed professional or someone that you trust for support. You are not alone in this. So until we create together again, please be kind to yourself and do something creative because you deserve it.